Today, we're talking about e-scooters. A buddy of mine always said,
If you're commuting, you might as well get a real bike. E-scooters just have no style.
and if you're like him, you don't know what you're missing. Because the latest generation of e-scooters has completely flipped that script. They look like the future, give comfort and features on par with a Tesla, and, most importantly, they don't blow a hole through your savings. That's why today I'm breaking down why these e-scooters are one of the smartest purchases you can make. Let's go. Early e-scooters always had a tell. Lean too hard into a turn, and you'd feel the front wheels start to betray you. That instability alone kept a lot of commuters on bikes longer than they wanted. The XOTO flips that, with a patented three-wheel lean system where the rear wheels actively adjust through corners. So confident handling isn't something you earn over time, it's just there from day one. In traffic, the throttle responds without lurching, and with hydraulic disc brakes on all three wheels, stopping feels proportional and controlled. Real-world range sits around 45 miles per charge, which covers most urban commutes comfortably, and doubling up on batteries extends that to 90. Financially, at $7,500, it's not cheap up front, but compare that to car payments, insurance, and parking, and the math shifts fast. Running costs are minimal. Just keep in mind that it's built for city riding, not highway speeds. Now, let's look at something more futuristic. One thing daily commuting teaches you fast is how much mental load riding actually takes. Watching for blind spots, timing your stops, finding parking in tight spaces. That's where the Omoway OMO X takes a genuinely different angle. Rather than competing on raw power, it leans into AI-assisted safety, collision avoidance, adaptive cruise, self-balancing over obstacles, and 360-degree cameras that handle the awareness gaps most riders miss. The modular chassis is a practical touch too. Heck, you can even swap between city, sport, or touring configurations depending on what the day demands. Plus, at roughly $3,800, it undercuts a lot of urban transport alternatives while offering tech you won't find on most scooters at any price. That said, this one comes with a real asterisk. Range, top speed, and battery specs are still unpublished, so saying anything before those numbers are confirmed is a leap of faith, and software-dependent systems always carry reliability risk in real-world conditions. Still, in my opinion, it's worth watching closely. Next up is a model where the specs are already proven. Most urban scooters hit a ceiling around 60 to 70 kilometers per hour and start feeling nervous. It's like you're wringing them out just to keep pace with traffic. The Scorpio X1 doesn't have that problem. With a 10 kilowatt motor, a top speed of 105 kilometers per hour, and real-world urban range closer to 125 kilometers, this is sized for actual city riding rather than just last-mile hops. The suspension setup, telescopic forks, rear monoshock, and Bosch ABS gives it a planted feel that cheaper scooters simply can't match. Torque delivery is smooth, and the windshield and passenger seat make longer rides noticeably less fatiguing. For 8 to 10 grand, it may not be budget territory for most, but versus car ownership, it still makes financial sense across fuel, insurance, and parking savings over time. But the thing is that this has been in prototype cycles since 2021, and real long-term user data is thin. Reliability still remains a big question mark. Commuting on a standard scooter through potholed streets or mixed terrain wears on you quickly. It's like the chassis feels like it's working against you rather than with you. The Evteker 01 ADV is built around that exact problem. The long travel suspension, thanks to an adjustable monoshock, telescopic forks, and dual-purpose tires, absorbs the kind of road surfaces that would rattle a typical urban scooter apart. With 14.4 kilowatts peak power, 115 kilometers per hour top speed, and 0 to 60 in roughly 4 seconds, it handles city traffic without feeling strained. Estimated real-world range sits around 100 to 150 kilometers, and the swappable battery setup keeps downtime manageable. Now at $7,500 to $9,500, it's positioned as a more accessible alternative to premium European electrics, with the added versatility of genuine off-road capability. It's just that user reports post-launch are still sparse, and service network coverage outside Europe and Asia is unclear at best. So how about we look at a model that's already built a reputation in the real world? The old knock on electric scooters was always that they couldn't handle a real commute. Suburbs to highway, mixed speeds, longer distances. The CSC-ERT3 is a direct answer to that criticism. With a peak output that hits 22.8 horsepower, a top speed of 120 kilometers per hour, and a belt drive motor that delivers torque quietly and consistently without the jerky power surges cheaper motors are known for, the ERT3 is battle-tested. Real-world range lands between 100 to 150 kilometers in mixed use, which covers most suburb-to-city runs comfortably, and that Bosch dual-channel ABS and large wheels add genuine stability at highway speeds. Where this one stands out in this lineup is value. Under $7,000 delivered, with cruise control, ABS, app connectivity, under-seat storage, and a windscreen included, the cost-to-feature ratio is hard to argue with. Running costs versus a car are minimal, and maintenance on a belt drive system is straightforward and often minimal. What holds this back, I feel, is the weight. At 206 kilograms, maneuvering it solo in tight parking can be a workout. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Long highway stretches are where most electric scooters quietly disappoint. Range shrinks, vibration builds, and you arrive more worn out than you should be. The Nerva EXE2 was clearly engineered with that exact scenario in mind. The liquid-cooled motor produces 26 horsepower peak with 55 newton-meters of torque, enough to confidently overtake on a freeway without drama. Real-world range sits at 140 to 160 kilometers in mixed riding, and the LFP battery chemistry comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty, which says something about how Nerva backs the long-term reliability. Zero vibration at top speed is a detail that only matters after you've lived with a buzzy motor for months. Here, it's noticeably absent. At $6,800 to $8,400, European eco-bonus incentives can pull that figure down meaningfully depending on your market. But just like the ERT3, this one struggles with a weight of nearly 230 kilograms. That may make low-speed maneuvering and parking noticeably effortful. So how about we check something lighter next? City commuting has a way of exposing every shortcut a manufacturer took. Rough pavement rattles cheap suspension, stop-and-go traffic reveals weak torque, and cramped controls wear on you daily. The Infinite Machine P1 approaches all of that from a different direction entirely. The focus here isn't raw range or top speed. It's the daily ride experience. Front and rear suspension handles potholes without fuss. Torque delivery is smooth through traffic, and the 7-inch touchscreen with wireless CarPlay integration genuinely changes how connected urban riding feels. ABS, dual cameras, NFC keyless start, and OTA updates round out a tech package that's more thoughtfully assembled than most. At $10,000 to $11,000, it's the priciest entry of this lineup yet, and the value case leans on ecosystem and experience rather than specs per dollar. And like I said, their focus isn't about range and speed, so you may notice some range drops at higher speeds. I'd say it's best suited for dense urban routes rather than longer mixed-use commutes. So how about something with a little more oomph? There's a point where a scooter stops being practical transport and becomes something else entirely, a performance statement. The Horwin Senmenti Zero lives firmly in that territory. Let me break it down for you. It's got a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.8 seconds, 200 kilometers per hour top speed, 72 kilowatt motor, 30-minute DC fast charging, and a claimed 300 kilometer range. On paper, it doesn't just compete with other scooters, it embarrasses most of them. The sensor suite, lean-sensitive ABS, and heated grips suggest genuine engineering ambition rather than a spec sheet exercise. But here's where experience matters. This has been shown at trade floors since 2022 with no confirmed widespread deliveries. I mean, at this point, I need to see these claims in action before I commit. Still, at $22,000 plus, that's one heck of a commitment. You're betting on a company still proving if it can produce at scale. The financial logic only holds if it actually ships and holds up in real ownership. But right now, that's unconfirmed. Worth watching, but not worth committing to until real-world units are in real riders' hands. So subscribe and drop a like, because only at Electrostats will you get honest, unbiased opinions on the latest electric vehicles this world has to offer. When someone says scooters aren't serious transport, this is the machine that ends that conversation. The BMW CE04 is what happens when a manufacturer with decades of motorcycle engineering stops treating electric as an experiment. 42 horsepower peak, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.7 seconds, real-world range of 130 to 160 kilometers in eco mode. And unlike several entries in this lineup, those numbers come from verified long-term ownership, not pre-production estimates. The 10.25-inch TFT display, dual-channel ABS, traction control, and BMW's electronics suite are mature and proven. Wet weather confidence is consistently praised by riders who use it daily, not just on test days. But financially, at $25,000 to $28,000, this is the hardest value case to make against a car. Heck, maybe there's no case at all. It's a premium buy that tries to justify itself through reliability, running costs, and longevity rather than upfront savings. The honest limitation? It's got a firm suspension that fatigues on longer trips, and 231 kilograms punishes you in tight parking. Still, if you're looking for something that's reliable, powerful, and goddamn stylish, nothing else comes close.